getting a little filter going for you. This makeup look is, you know, it's maybe some tones that don't go together, but you know, I'm always like experimenting with the products that I have and, you know, just wanting to see what they look like. I got my hands on this ColourPop set of eyeshadow sticks and they really didn't show up like anything. So I had to go over it with the Fenty Kilowatt foil in sangria something, mimosa something, but I think it looks incredible. Anyway, the latest information is basically suggesting that Shanquella's parents feel that the unaliving could have been premeditated, not only from that video where there was some images of Shanquella on a hammock and one of her so-called friends was saying, we've got our first blank body. Number one. Number two, you know, here's this woman who's being super generous, paying for this, you know, villa in Cabo as a gift to her friends, you know, celebrating her success as a businesswoman. I think most of these folks had gone to college together, right? And, you know, you're in college, you're young, you're just tasting independence, and you are believing that, you know, the people that you know and that you socialized with in college are your friends. And as we know, that's not always the case, not because of college and not because of friends. It's the nature of people to look at what you do and look at what you have and become jealous. And those feelings, right? If there's a thought in someone's head, trust and believe that that thought is going to express itself either in snarky comments or, you know, just claiming that you can't afford to go to Mexico to see if you can hustle that person to paying for it. Just like people hustle people into paying for their drinks or paying for their dinners, right? And people can be very generous with their friends or people that they believe are their friends, right? But we know often it is the same so-called friends who can talk behind your back, set you up, if not for failure or to, you know, get in the way of your romantic relationships, then their jealousy, and the German word is Schadenfreude. And some people have this intense feeling of coveting what you have, wanting to be who you are, wanting your kind of success, that, you know, alone or in groups, this can be dangerous. I believe that's why on set they segregate principal actors from extras, because there can be, you know, even for day players and not series regulars, there can be some negative emotions and negative feelings, and people will come out of their mouth and say unsupportive things when the camera is rolling. They will say, you know, mock people if they mess up their lines. They will, and I've heard it. I've heard, you know, grown men who are, you know, background artists talk crap about, oh, that actor who's a lead actor and super successful has put on weight or has hair plugs, or, you know, just catty stuff that in the moment, if you hear it and you absorb it, it could mess up your performance. It could mess up your self-esteem. You know, like you look at people like Zac Efron or that woman who was the lead in Dirty Dancing, when they go and they do extreme cosmetic things to their faces, even a Michael Jackson, I believe it's because they are digesting what people say about them being too ethnic or having too ethnic a nose or having, you know, that somehow they need a stronger jawline or, you know, whatever it is, right? You can't get that water into your boat, right? And maybe the problem with Shanquella is that she would not swallow the shade. Whatever was said or done, however these folks, these friends, these Cabo Six, however they expressed their unhappiness with her and her success prior to their trip to Cabo. This is a ColourPop for Target Glitterally Obsessed glitter gel duo. It's in that Euphoria vein, but it's ColourPop, so it's going to be affordable and it might be great. Those signs, right? None of us can afford to ignore the signs. There are, this is the shade Spinner, and then the other shade is Born Wild. Born Wild looks like more of a cool blue, but it's a glitter gel. And this is kind of a sparkly gold. Let's see what this looks like on the lid. Just going over these shadows. But, you know, your gut instincts, right? Even though people can be phony and can be shapeshifters, they knew how to act like they were friendly and friends, you know, to the point where she would bankroll their vacation and bring all kinds of cash, allegedly, that then, you know, her so-called friends got their paws on, allegedly, and, you know, kind of took advantage of, oh, that's pretty, of Shanquella's generosity and trust, right? Especially when you get alcohol in the mix, right? That's the first thing that people who can't be trusted want to do. Look how fantastic this is. You know, they want to get you liquored up, whether it's, you know, someone who you're dating or someone who is a frenemy, right? I can't tell you how many colleagues who don't like me working where I work have been real hungry and eager to get me into circumstances where I would drink. And you know, and this moves so well because it is a gel. It gives you a moment to manipulate it before it dries down, and it has little smaller kind of glitter specks, larger kind of mirror flecks, but it has larger kind of star-shaped flecks. I'm not sure if you can see it, but it gives you this sort of dreamy quality that, you know, at a party or at a bar or, you know, for New Year's, this is incredible. It makes me curious to see what the cooler tone shade Born Wild looks like. If you can get your hands on these, they're affordable. You know, I've heard and I've seen reviews of the brand from the makeup artist on Euphoria. And I think this stuff is in that vein. You can see it. You can see kind of all the shapes and stars, kind of like it's Lucky Charms on my silicone sponge, but I think it's dried down enough that I can't transfer the glitter bits onto my eyelids. Maybe I can get them on my cheeks. I love it. This is actually so unexpected, you know, kind of getting more into that graphic highlight, graphic glitter place, but without the like $100 plus $50 price tag. And it looks a lot more like a complex application than it actually was. You know, will it stay on over time? I'll let you know. But kudos to ColourPop. Wow. But yeah, back to our friend Shanquella. You know, I want to hope and pray that there is justice for Shanquella's family. She did nothing wrong. She was a high achieving, trusting friend. And these were clearly not the people to share her success with or trust or, you know, kind of be that generous and intimate with. At a certain point, you have to kind of like separate yourself from, you know, school fellow students. I won't even call them like friends. People you know in school who act up and get jealous when you date too high status of a person, when you date people that they can't get their hands on, when you don't stoop to having sexual relationships with them, when you are succeeding and, you know, financially in a different place than they are, it leads to jealousy and envy and danger. I mean, I think if there's any lesson to be learned from all of this for, you know, the average person and viewer who's become aware of this alleged crime through the activism of Black TikTokers and Black social media leaders here on YouTube and, certainly on Instagram and different places, it is that you cannot trust everyone. People are very eager to be wolves in sheep's clothing if it means they're going to come up. They're going to come up off free vacation, come up off, maybe they only had to pay their airfare, but allegedly once the deed and the injury were done, allegedly the cash that was in Shanquella's luggage and her credit cards were put into play in various ways to allow the alleged perpetrators, to escape back to the States before there was a full investigation and before there was an opportunity to, generate the paperwork that's involved when someone is unalived, etc. I got my hands on this Burt's Bees peppermint foot lotion. I'm very excited about it, although peppermint seems like it would be cooling for the winter. Look at this sumptuous glitter eyeshadow. But it does come with a little condom that has to be peeled off. You can smell the powerful peppermintness. Incredible. It smells like toothpaste though. But yeah, let us all share in the lesson, and the very painful lesson that Shanquella's parents and family are having to learn about how very deceptive people can be. And I want to introduce a concept called duper's delight, right? We know about this in the context of dating. People who will very purposefully, for example, pretend to want to be in a relationship in order to shake someone. Usually it's a man shaking down a woman for like sexual access, for them to, manipulate love so that, their victim will do anything for them or anything for the relationship. Similarly, right? That person who gets love based on fraudulent words and behavior kind of smirks to themselves like, got her, right? They go on the internet talking about, that women are hoes or women should choose better and all of this without acknowledging the lies and the shape-shifting and the pretense, right? It's so not player, because if you were 100% real and honest, you never could have gotten into that relationship, right? But people want to, do the magic trick and take credit for the trick. It was never real, but then they want to blame the person that they tricked, and that's not cool. Similarly, some of these perpetrators were at the family's home during the initial days of them, finding out about what had happened to their daughter. And they were, consoling and being consoled and eating these people's food and hugging and all of that. And, one or more of them had been on family vacations with Shanquella and her family prior. But it was very important for them to get back to the US, go and share the news, bring back her luggage, I believe, and then go and pose as tearful, sort of bereft, hurt by the turn of events person or people, when the sad reality, allegedly, may be that these same people participated in Shanquella's unaliving. I hope I'm being responsible in the ways that I'm discussing this. Just a little coffee. But it all harkens back to the analysis of people who are narcissists, right? Selfish, self-interested, projecting an image, manipulating other people's perceptions of them, finding flying monkeys, friends, people who will back up their version of things. Like, oh yeah, let's pretend to be this person's friend so she'll foot the bill for the villa, maybe even flights. Yeah, let's get in her pockets. Let's just go along with it. Let's talk behind her back, and then she has to like search us out. If you've seen any of the videos connected to this set of days on vacation and these events that led to poor Shanquella being unalived, there just seemed to be a lot of behavior that isn't open and honest, and we're all friends. It seemed like there was a group within the group, a group that kind of acknowledged Shanquella, utilized her resources, did what they needed to do in terms of making her feel like they were friends. We've all been there, right? Doing the paint by the numbers version of friendship. How many times have we, been around people at birthday parties or colleagues or ski trips or, you know, high school or college where, people really wanted to be in our social circle. We made them look good. We helped them pull guys they couldn't otherwise pull. But then when ish hits the fan, you see their true colors. They want to, like some terrible telenovela plot, they want to get the better of you. They do bad things, terminate a with child thing, and they want to put your name on the procedure. They, catch an STI, and then they want to use your name and your description to be blamed for it when it was them. You go to a party and you have a nice overcoat, and somehow they're confused and they take your coat and leave you with their, you know, cheap, ugly coat. I think we can all sort of catalog offenses and moments that let us know that our so-called friends were less than that. We're not necessarily our friends, but we're users. We're reptilian and cold-blooded when it came to us and our needs for fairness, our need to be able to trust as well as be trusted. But when you realize that a relationship is one-sided or it's tilted, it's always you paying the bill, you doing the driving, you hosting the party, you listening to their problems, you giving your opinion, you giving advice. I mean, even like people will try to, you're in the talking stage with a potential romantic person, and, they want to ask you 11 questions, and they tell you about their life and you give them your honest opinion. But when you really think about it, they don't have any opinions about what is important to you, about things that you're discussing that were confusing or difficult. They don't have any input. They don't have any advice. It's just this rote kind of investigation or surveillance where it's not a give and take. It's not a friendship conversation. They want to know how much and where and what did you do and blah, 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 and all these statistics without it being like the natural ebb and flow of conversation. They want to know all your business. They don't want you to know theirs. They want to know all these statistics and who and where and what you did, but, it's like squeezing blood out of a turnip to find out how many exes, how many children, how many jobs did you have before the job that you say is your job now? You just get that texture of, it's like a steak wrapped in plastic. There's something about it that it's a layer of fake around what looks like a real friend, what looks like a real romantic partner, what looks like someone that you can trust, someone that you should value and honor and include in family type relationships, until that twist of fate, until that moment where you catch them looking at you in a way that you've never seen that expression on their face until just now, when maybe they didn't expect you to be looking, until that like nasty remark in a text, until that, the turning points can be so small and so significant. But if we are too optimistic, too loving, too kind, we can miss the signals that, in the most instructive way, that's how I mean this, that can protect us and protect our lives and our safety and our resources, right? Maybe it's not even malice. Sometimes you're dealing with a friend who has slipped into addiction or mental illness or something that triggers a change, a switch, something that leads your loved one, your trusted, road dog, homie, ride or die, to change the relationship. And when you find out, it's always a bad surprise. So I just want to encourage everyone to remember Shanquella Robinson and think about her story, her relationships, her trust and generosity, perhaps to people who were not the most deserving of that. And, if there's any lesson to sustain us as we observe the quest that her parents have, and, that everyone has in finding justice for her untimely unaliving, then let's sit with that wisdom and lesson from her example. And thank you for joining me here. Sister says, just a little commentary moment about this very important story that really honestly could happen to any of us. So until next time, bye.